Okay, so again, I am your host, Sable B, founder and creator of Real Brown Girls. This is the Sis Talk Show. Sis stands for Sis is Smart. Every month we come together. We have amazing, dope guests. And if you've never been to a talk show before, I'm basically going to let you know what goes down. It's like an old school talk show. I might have some cue cards. I have my glass. This is water. I promise you, there's no libations in here on tonight. I didn't eat a strong enough dinner for that. I invite guests to the show, some of my favorite people on the planet, and we talk about all things related to life, career, profession, personal, all of those things, because I just feel like there's a void in the space of conversations, which I would consider your everyday dope Black women. It's like, what do you do all day? How did you get here? What has inspired you? How are you still with us? How are you shining? And all of that beautiful goodness. One day I will have red glasses like my homegirl, Sally Jesse Raphael. I probably watched far too many talk shows that I had no business watching, but clearly it serves as an inspiration for this. So this is officially, I think, our 8th recording. And you all have, I say this every time because it's true, but like tonight is extra special, not just because of our guest, but because of the topic. So if I wanted to read you Dr. Nadia Lopez, I just like saying that each time. Her biography, first of all, we would be here all night, okay? But I want you to know this. This woman is dope. This woman is driven. This woman is committed. And I think what has been so just wonderful to witness over the last, oh my gosh, with COVID, I have no concept of time anymore. But over the last year and a half, 2 years, is watching her decide, like, you know what? After all that I've accomplished, I'm putting me first in this moment. And we were literally having a conversation, I want to say early August on the phone. And as we were chatting, I was like, Nadia, that permission to leave, like that's the next topic for the talk show. What day are you available? Let's do this. And we are here tonight. If you don't know who this woman is, just do me a favor, hit the Google and look it up, okay? Because there's so much that can be said, from awards, international, national. She has started a school in a neighborhood that holds near and dear to my heart, because that's where my family was born and raised, Brownsville, Brooklyn, a place that most folks don't want to claim for a whole bunch of reasons. But if it wasn't for Brownsville, I would not be here tonight. So I truly adore, just of all neighborhoods to start a school in, you were like, you know what, we going to Brownsville. So when I first met Nadia, I was like, all right, she already wanted my book. Like she already wanted my book. You might have learned about her a few years ago when a huge story went viral on Humans of New York, when one of her students was interviewed by the founder and creator of that platform. You might have heard about her on Black Girls Rock. You might have seen her on your television screen accepting awards in, taking up space with other dope Black women doing Black things. What I'm saying is the woman's dope, and she is here to talk and share with us tonight on a topic, permission to lead. So without dramatic further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Dr. Nadia Lopez. I need music in the background. One day it's gonna be a whole production, but pretend like these are music notes. Yeah, get it, whoop. How are you tonight?
I am good, Sable. It's always good to be in conversation with you. Like, it's been a while since we've seen each other. We've been on the phone for August, but yeah.
I'm digging the braids. I'm digging the artwork in the background. It's a whole vibe.
Thank you. This is actually COVID art. Like, this art that I created, there's one down here as well. During COVID, I kind of just found my artistic ability. Who knew?
So while the rest of us were baking and making sourdough bread, you was painting?
Mm-hmm.
For the record, I know where my strengths lie. And I can make a cake from scratch. So I was like, I'm gonna leave the bread making to the professionals. It's from what I hear, it's not that complicated, but I just don't believe that to be true.
No need to do it. It's cheaper to buy
it. Can you see it's right here, it's right here. Okay, so wait, someone said you can't see the art.
You can't see the art?
Is anyone else having trouble seeing the art? I see. Okay. Okay. I wish I could pretend I know what to do, but I don't. I hope you can see it. It's beautiful art. Mine wouldn't look like that. That's for sure. Someone says we only see the host. I don't know. I have 2 spotlights here.
Maybe if they're on their phone.
Oh, that's true. Or like an iPad.
Phone, you have to scroll so that you can see.
That's a good point. If you're not on like a laptop, Zoom changes how the view shows up on like mobile devices. And the mobile, it doesn't even have to be a phone. It could be like an iPad or the other fancy names they have for all of the gadgets I don't possess. So yeah, you might have to like do some swiping. If you do have to do swiping, like feel free to just look at Nadia. You don't need to look at me. It's not necessary. Okay, let's dive in.
Okay.
So I have my cards and things, trying to be a little Sally Jesse Raphael professional.
Okay. We have not discussed this at all either, so I have no idea.
I didn't go through Nadia's PR to give her a heads up on the questions here. But to start, so for those of you who don't know, Nadia was a principal. She worked for the DOE, which is the Department of Education in New York City. So New York. And she was a principal at a school in Brooklyn that she founded. Open a school, close a prison. We're not going to talk about the prison to pipeline tonight because we'd be here all night and that's not why we're here. But since you're no longer currently a principal, how are you introducing yourself these days?
Still Dr. Nadia Lopez, Chief Visionary and CEO of the Lopez Effect.
Yes. You see, that's that elevator pitch right there. Anyone who's coming to a masterclass, I'm like, and what's your elevator pitch? That's exactly the elevator pitch. So you're no longer a principal. Tonight's session episode is called Permission to Leave. Walk us through that journey of going from opening a school, but also leaving the school that you opened.
So one, I think that there is someone, thank you to whoever muted themselves, I appreciate it. So I want to be clear and I want to be transparent in saying it was not an easy decision. Because my love, if those who have followed me and people who know me, I'm all about education and I'm all about fighting for our children and to open a school was not easy because I literally had to fight against the actual system that granted me the permission to open up the school. And so it was like birthing my own child. And so over the course of being a leader, even let me just say this, when I started as an assistant principal in the New York City Department of Education, the health issues and the stress started then. Like there's things that you have no idea until you get into the actual seat. So that's one. Two, I want to make this very clear because we amongst family and friends, all skin folk ain't kin folk, right? So I had to deal with Black women being the root of a lot of the trauma that I experienced in my work. And so I say that because from the time I was an AP, I was already starting to exhibit insomnia. I had the issue of depression. I had developed an ulcer. I was injured in a building under the leadership of a female, right? And leadership sets the tone. So when I opened up Mount Hall Bridges Academy, it was still in Brownsville, but I already knew what I did not want anyone else to go through. I was very clear that no one should ever be injured. No one should ever feel or present to be sick and think that they should have to come to work. I was doing all the things, protecting every one of the things that I was actually having inflicted on me. By 2014, all the way up until 2014, I had days where I would wake up and I say, I don't want to do this anymore because there was just no support. And the unfortunate thing is that as strong Black women, we tend to just take on. We do 18,000 jobs. We see someone not doing what they're supposed to. We're not asking questions. We're going to get it done anyway. And so everyone around us lacks the boundaries or the consideration of, she must be tired, let's give her a break. Because you put yourself in that position. You show up all the time. You don't say, I can, I won't. And so I did that time and time again. I never, prior to 2010, I never went to the doctor's office, but for my annual checkup, you know, then all of a sudden I was going every 2-3 months, and it became like a pattern. It would start right after school started, and then it would start right before state exams, and then it would be right after state exams. So I had a pattern, right? And then 2014 happens, and I was done. I did not want to be a principal anymore because it was just way too taxing. Humans of New York happens, and it's like everyone is recognizing my work.
That timing.
The timing. Like I was in my house crying. I had written my letter of resignation. My mother's like, pray on it. I'm looking at her like, I don't need to talk to Jesus today, not today.
I prayed.
I don't want to pray today. It's not Sunday, it's Saturday. I'll wait till tomorrow. Like that's how I was approaching it, because I was just so tired. And she said to me, what do you want to do? I said, I just want to be a mom. I just want to be a good mother. I don't even have time to be a mother. I don't even have time for myself. And then the Monday comes and I pray on all things. And then this post happens.
And then you go viral.
And I go viral. I want to be transparent and say nothing changed about my circumstance. It actually added on more pressure. It actually put a spotlight on me that created even more imposter syndrome, because I was already dealing with that, because people were questioning me. People felt like, what is she doing so different in Brownsville? Like all of the things that was happening. So now all of this fanfare is happening. And because the world is saying she's so great, I get even less support. So I wasn't getting support before. Now, if I asked for anything, it was like, but do you need help? Like, are you serious? So as a result, I became even more introverted. So people see me all the time. I have this persona. I can light up a room, but I like being home. I like being by myself. I'm an only child.
Me too.
So I'm okay with not engaging all the time. I just know how to turn it on, right? And so when I am home, I'm good. And so if you notice, I had the haircut, like my daughter says, the Dora haircut, the Chinese bob, because I didn't want people to see me, recognize me, whatever. I remember my grandmother passing away, and people were stopping me, and how, you know, I know they wanted to say something positive, but it was intrusive because my mom was dealing with this death and all of these things. And to be honest, Sable, I started to recognize, you know, how traumatic the work had become, how much I had taken on. And by 2017, the doctors had said, you need to take time off because your body can't keep taking this. At this point, I had developed digestive issues. So we all start with the stomach hurts a little bit. You take a little Tums, you take the Rolaids, you're taking the, you know,
tea.
You're drinking your tea to relieve yourself of the gas. But I was waking up in the middle of the night with chest pains that felt like I was having a heart attack. And it was really because of the amount of gas that my body was producing. And it would happen in the middle of the night. I was having tremendous migraines. I had bad insomnia. Like literally, I would go to sleep for 2 hours. I would wake up paranoid. I was writing things down. I was worried that I didn't do something. Somebody was going to come get me. All of these things was happening. And my doctor said, listen, I'm not writing your death certificate. I need you to take time off. So
Shout out to your
2017.
doctor.
Yeah, because we have a good relationship, right? And he's like, and I said, but you want to get paid, right? So I need to go to work because I can't, I'm not paying this bill. So 2017 comes, I decide I have to take a medical leave under the advice of my doctor.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, what happened was my assistant principal wasn't tenured. And so I got all of this. I had conversations with folks who were like, so if you leave, you don't know who's going to come into your school. You don't know what can happen. You want to protect your assistant principal. If she becomes the principal, God forbid something happens, she's not tenured, she can only be a teacher again. So I decided to not take the time off and to come
more
back.
Stress, worried about what might happen.
Right. So I came back. And then we had a change in chancellors in 2018.
I remember that transition.
So I was going to change. I was going to take a leave. But then when change happens like that, people are going to do 10,000 things and it creates a lot of uncertainty. So the only thing that was certain was me. So I stayed again. Okay, see the pattern? I need to take time. I'm going to do everything for everybody else. By 2019, she had gotten tenured. Hallelujah, Jesus. I go to a meeting and literally my body, while I'm in this meeting for principals, is rejecting what's happening in the room. I can't explain it, but literally I started to feel sick. I felt sick being in the room. I felt sick at how people were just like acting like we're doing outstanding things. And I'm like, is everybody else not looking at the data? Why are we so impressed by stuff? And
what are you seeing that I don't see?
I don't, and everybody's like keying it up. And I'm like, and it's all of these principals from Brooklyn North and stuff like that. No, nothing to them. But I was just like, we're just so conditioned to falling in line. And I've never been that person, right? So I don't have anywhere to hide my emotions and feelings. I'm just like, so at that point, I go to the bathroom and I notice I'm going to give TMI. My urine is a little color that I'm like, this seems a little strange. I should drink more water. But then I was like, I drank a whole liter of water on my way here. So I go back to my seat. I'm sitting again with my girlfriend who's a principal. And I told her, I said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. Like, I feel sick. I feel, and she's like, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know, but I can't be a principal anymore. Like, this isn't it. I said, I need to go back to the bathroom. And then after this, I'm leaving this, like I'm leaving the professional development. So I go to the bathroom and I notice that now the urine is pink. And I'm like,
the right colors.
No, it's not. So I called the doctor's office. I said, I need to come in. I hop on a train. I get to the doctor's office and, he starts asking me questions like, are you sure it might not be that time of the month? I was like, how old am I? Like, are we asking me that question? He was like, I'm just asking. At this point, he gives me a cup and says, just give me a sample and then come back. When I came back with the sample, the color of that red right there was the color of the urine. And he said, I thought you said it was like pink. I said,
well, it was.
It was an hour ago. I don't know what happened. At this point, now I have to he gives me antibiotics. I'm supposed to wait a week. 3 days later, I feel even worse. I went to work. It was the Saturday. I was going to prom shopping for my daughter. And I felt exhausted. If everybody knows me, I love to shop. There's nothing that could ever make me exhausted with shopping. I was tired. I called the doctor. I said, something is wrong. He says, it's Memorial Day weekend. Wait until Tuesday because there's no one's going to be on duty that's going to actually be able to take care of you, right? So I said, okay. Instead of going to the doctor on Tuesday, I go to work first.
Ma'am.
Teachers, it's May. Everybody's tired. Nobody wants to really like step up to do what they need to do. I'm infuriated. I feel it, but I feel it all throughout my body. And I go, it was an assembly. I tell the kids, I was like, I'm so disappointed in what's happening here. Like, this is not my expectations. And I said, I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be home. I'm supposed to be at the doctor's office. I don't feel well, but I put you all first. And today is not going to be the day. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to the doctor, right? And the kids are looking at me, the adults are looking at me. I go upstairs, I get my bag. As I'm walking out, everyone's like, Miss Dr. Lopez, you okay? I said, I just need to go. Mm-hmm. That was the last time I was in the school building. Mm-hmm. I went to the hospital. They didn't know what's wrong. They're telling me I had stones, kidney stones. I was like, I don't have kidney stones. I didn't have kidney stones. I don't know what this is. Eventually, what ended up happening is I had to stay out of work. They had to do a biopsy, and then they really recognized that it was IgA nephropathy. And then the doctors were stunned because, one, I don't have high blood pressure. Mm-hmm. I don't have cholesterol issues. I don't have kidney issues in my family. And IgA nephropathy doesn't affect people of color. Mm. It affects Caucasians and oftentimes Asians, but it doesn't affect people of color. Mm. So I was forced to have to deal with the fact that I had something that was autoimmune that literally I caused myself. And I remember before getting the diagnoses, I cried. I think I was in my mother's bedroom for whatever reason. And I started crying because, I was saying to God, I don't want to die. Like, I don't want my mother to bury me. I don't want my daughter to have to think that I didn't think she was enough for me to be alive. Mm-hmm. And I was angry at the fact that so many times when I should have stopped, I didn't. Mm-hmm. That my want to do right by children and to give them the very best had turned me into a savior, and we talk about white people coming into our communities and being saviors, but I was doing the same thing, but with the intention of not trying to take the credit of doing it. I was doing it because I wanted them to have better. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, God, please, I don't want to die, right? And so once I got the diagnoses, it was a matter of now I have to go through this therapy and I have to see if it works to avoid me having to get dialysis, because the doctors were like, these are your three choices. If this doesn't work, we can try something else that's going to be less effective. Mm-hmm. You're looking at dialysis, you're looking at a transplant or death. So we're going to do everything we can to help you. Now, I want to be honest, I was at Kings County, downstate. I had to fight with these doctors because
I don't like downstate.
The other thing is that when you are, we talk about Black women in health, and oftentimes we talk about it as it relates to mortality and birth. No, it's across the board, right? And so when I was saying something was wrong and I was arguing with them and they kept telling me I had kidney stones and they kept telling me that it must be a urinary tract infection, and they kept telling, I was like, I know my body, this is not what's happening. Right.
I don't know what it is, but I know it's not that.
Right. So I had to advocate for myself. So fast forward, I'm on a medical leave and I'm turning in my paperwork. I'm giving it to the Department of Education from the doctors, because every 2 months you have to go and you have to get it approved and stuff like that. And I had accrued 150 sick card days, which is personal days or annual days, because I never took off for myself. Right. And what I did not know is that when you get sick, you have to exhaust all of your days first before they consider giving you any time. Mm. So I'm off. You can't leave the state. You can't leave the country. You can't do anything. You can't make any income, and that's fine. So I stayed in my house, right? I did what I needed to do. January comes now. I had complications because of steroids. The doctors are like, we need to do a surgical procedure. You're going to need to be extended because you're still under treatment. And so we need you to stay out till a couple more months. Mm-hmm. I then called the Department of Education to advise the HR department. And then there was this whole big, like, no one had a clear answer. People are talking to me crazy. I said, okay, I just need to know, how do I extend my leave? Mm-hmm. You cannot extend your leave. I know I didn't use FMLA yet. So I just need to know, can I do something or how can I get paid? It came down to, you could do a medical sabbatical. You have to do the same paperwork that I've been submitting, mm-hmm. submit it with an additional paper, and that should be fine. The superintendent needs to approve it. I do all of that. They separated me from payroll without having a conversation first. They took away my benefits without having a conversation first. I submit the paperwork as they required. They then send me back this email that I posted, highlighted, bolded, grammatically incorrect, to tell me that no, we're not going to give you a sabbatical, that you're just going to have to take a medical leave. That's what we're approving you for, with non-pay. In that moment, the choice was, do I go back to work because I need the money, because my daughter's in college and I have financial responsibilities, or do I heal completely? And whatever the financial setbacks are, God is going to provide. I remember praying and I said, God, what do you need me to do? I went to sleep. I woke up to the answer. If you can do this without getting paid, you would have learned how to maintain yourself without depending on anybody. So I said, I'm not going back until I'm fully healed. And I did that. And then COVID happened, right? And instead of being that person who was like, I'm on medical leave, I said, you know what? My team needs me. Mm-hmm. I physically go into the building with COVID all around. My mother is somebody who's in her 70s. I shouldn't be in the building. I wanted my team to know that I was still down for them, right? Mm-hmm. I helped them onboard onto our online system. We rocking and rolling. We do all we need to do for our staff, our kids, everybody. What ended up happening is when we were online, the AP, now being the principal, has to do all the work as the principal. That means she's on calls all day talking about nothing, right? Because they didn't have no clear plan. And I'm supporting the teachers being online. I then start going into the same behaviors. I'm not getting up, I'm not eating, I'm not going to the bathroom, I'm not drinking, I'm not. So eventually what ends up happening is that I start to regress. Mm. And when I did my labs, the doctors were like, you are actually in a place of remission. What are you doing? Like, are you fasting? And I said, well, I'm doing work. I'm supporting the school. And they're like, okay. So your choices are dialysis, transplant, or early death.
Which one do you want?
Your choice is going to lead to one of those three, right? And I was like, oh. And then everything that was happening in the world, the Department of Education wasn't addressing. So I kind of felt like, y'all don't care about people in general. You certainly don't care about me. And the last thing was, I have a young daughter, a Black daughter, who is going to become a reflection of her mother. She's going to think, in order for her to exist, for her to make a living, for her to have a profession, she has to sacrifice herself for those who don't care about her. What kind of example am I setting? I can't do this, because the minute I tell her, you need to let go of that job, the same way I let go of her father and divorced him, and I made the decision because I said, I don't want her to one day be with a man who ain't doing her any good. And I tell her, you got to leave. And she says to me, well, you stay with my father. I said, I'm not going to stay at this job. If God spoke to me once and said, I will provide for you, he's already given me the talents and gifts to recreate anything that I want. He's already given me the ability to think for myself. I don't need to be in bondage, right? And I'm not carrying this cross across Calvary, not another day. So I literally gave them maybe a week's time. I was like, or the day, I think I resigned like on the 30th. The 30th at 11:59 p.m. I was like, effective July 1st, I'm no longer with the Department of Education. Then that's it. And that's how we roll, right? And I had to take y'all all through that story because it wasn't an easy decision. And there's so many of you who are watching me right now who are struggling because you have the finances, you have responsibilities, you have children, you have elders who you have to take care of. You might feel like, where else can I go? Because, once we get a title, how many of us can say that we've earned, like, how many titles are they giving out? How many leadership positions are they giving out? So we kind of like hoard, we hold on, we say to ourselves,
hold on tight.
There's nothing else. There's nothing else that can be. And it's a fallacy, right? It's a fallacy because what they then do is they create this scarcity mentality that forces you to think that you're not capable of doing or going anywhere else. Work is the same as a personal relationship. They are relationships. People treat you according to how you allow them to treat you. If they think that you are weak and you don't want to stand up for yourself and say it's time to go, they will take advantage. They will have no consideration for your time. They will not see your abilities. They will talk down to you. They will break your spirit because they know what you're capable of doing. It's the same for anybody who teaches Black children in schools. Why do you think they don't want us to know about ourselves? Because if we knew what we came from,
it'd be a game changer.
Do you understand? So the minute you start to empower yourself, you start to align yourself, you start to recognize like, wait, because as a result of me leaving, there's so many people now who are like, so I left, right? I don't want you to jump ship tomorrow because you heard me and you don't have a plan. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
When I left, I want you to know in my time of being sick, I was also preparing myself. I didn't necessarily know what I was doing, but I even reached out to Sable. I took her on as a coach. I was like, Sable, so I need to figure out this whole branding. I want to work on creating a book because I'm going to do this vision class. I need to, like Sable and I had meetings. And I would like have my homework done. Like I was serious because I was like, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I need to start preparing myself. Because when I was a principal, I didn't have time to learn anything else, to take on a new project. I took this as a moment for me to invest in myself. And I was like, I will pay you. How much do I need to pay? Did I not, Sable?
She did.
And I was like,
she did all her homework every time. And as a former teacher, I was like, because we can continue the lessons. I mean, folks, can y'all just see why I have Dr. Nadia Lopez here on tonight? Because you see why she's been on stages. You see why folks, even though she was dog tired and probably needed to be in bed, you see why folks had her frolicking around the world, not even around the country, around the world on stages talking to people, because just the way in which you capture the room. Now, you started talking about this in the beginning, and then you brought it back towards the end of your story. And I have it, forget my notes, y'all. I'm taking new notes based on what she's saying here. And I wrote down glamorizing leadership, because you mentioned titles. And I know that a lot of us, particularly, it could be the nonprofit space, higher education, pre-K to 12 education, tech, corporate, whatever industry it might be. A lot of us are seeking more money. And oftentimes more money comes with a higher title, which comes with more leadership, which comes with more responsibility, which is glamorized these days on social media, because everyone takes a fly picture, they put on, they write the beautiful caption, and then it goes off, be it LinkedIn, be it Twitter, be it Facebook. What would you tell someone right now who maybe is in a position of leadership? I like that word, very seductive, Portia, who's in a position of leadership or seeks one. And it's not so much a warning, but what are three things? And I grew up in a Baptist church, so there was always 3 points to every sermon. That took 3 hours to get to, but I digress. What would you tell them to make sure you don't forget in your quest for leadership roles, or in your quest to reach whatever career goals you might have set for yourself?
Never forget whose you are.
I like that.
You serve, for me, I serve God. There is no higher. I don't serve an entity, because when that entity is no longer loyal to you, they've never been loyal to you. They're loyal to you when you are able to function for them. And then when they don't, they could care less, right? So know whose you are. Second, know who you are, right? You got to know who you are. When you are clear on your value, when you are clear on what you bring to the table, to the space, then all the other things that they're trying to ask you to do or demanding of you, listen, I know who I am. When you're talking down to me and trying to make me feel like I'm not good enough, no. Because when I came here, I walk into a workspace or I walk into an interview knowing that I'm an asset. I don't ever walk into a job, I need this job. Nope. I walk into this job, this interview, knowing that I have something to deposit in here. And when the assignment is done, it's done.
It's done.
Do you understand? And so the third thing is know what you want your legacy to be. If you understand how you want to be remembered in terms of your children, in terms of the people who know and love and respect you, then all of these other things that people are doing for the height and the clout means absolutely nothing. I post on social media. There are times that I'm posting a lot, and there are times that I'm like, I don't have the energy. I could have my phone in my hand, and I'm like, I don't feel like it. I don't
want to do it today.
I don't. And it's even a struggle sometimes just putting the things up because I don't like having to feel like I have to do this all the time to remain relevant. I don't. I have a lot going on in my life, right? But the world is set up, and these things are set up in a way. If you know about neuroscience, if you know about psychology and marketing was developed by somebody who was a psychologist. So it is developed in a way to rattle your brain. Neuroscience is the study of your actual behaviors. So when we look at social media, it's literally forcing us to conform to be awake. At the end of the day, I don't want to appear to be the person who has the perfect life. That's why if you follow me, I'm very transparent. I will tell you, I tell my own personal business because I said I don't need nobody creating a narrative that is false. I will do it. I will share with you all I need to share. You understand? So I don't want folks to think, oh, going into entrepreneurship, she's living the life. She's working out. I work out because I want to live. I do not need to go back to any kidney specialist. I do not want to have to get stuck again 5 times a week. I don't want to do those things. So I'm showing folks. I don't run. Y'all don't see me running. Y'all don't see me at the gym doing all. I walk.
Count my steps.
I walk and I start doing this like YouTube videos. That's all I do because I want us to be healthy. My parents didn't show me that. My great parents didn't show them that, right? Like no one shows us the importance and the value of really taking care of ourselves. We're not taught about self-care. We hear all the time. One thing that is my greatest pet peeve is when people would tell me, maybe y'all might have said it, and I apologize if I'm talking to you, but I mean it out of love. If you say to me, put on your gas mask, right? You can't, you get on the plane and you have to put on the gas mask. I saw that so many times when I used to put pictures up and put up a post all the way back to 2015. I could still find those type of messages. There's an assumption that I know what to do with the gas mask. I needed someone to sit with me, to take me and say, girl, this is what self-care is like.
Teach me.
Show me. Girl, this is how you're supposed to set up your schedule. This is what you need to say. You're not going to work past 6 o'clock. You're not going to work past 6 o'clock. No, I would have yoga in my building. Have y'all ever taken yoga? Your body is in a place of it's releasing toxins, the energy. You're tired. You're supposed to go home, rest, relax. I would go back into my office at 7 o'clock and stay there till 10. I would make sure my staff.
Because I've been in her building late and leaving. I'm like, why are you still in here?
So my staff would go home because I don't want them to stay, but I would stay. Do you understand? It made no sense, but I wanted to make sure they were good and I wasn't taking care of myself. So now when I coach others, first thing I'm like, nope, we got to talk about self-care. We got to talk about how you're taking care of yourself. I make my rec roommates, those who are on here, part of my rec room, I make sure they have an escape plan. And it's an acronym, and it's very much broken down so folks know how to take care of themselves with the simplest things. I will send a text message out to the group. How are you taking care of yourself? What's the one thing you're going to do for yourself? I will send a gospel song just to encourage them, because we need that. I could put up a text and say, check on your strong friends. Guess how many people are going to check on me? I'm like, oh, okay, well, damn, but okay, no problem. I'll check on everybody else. But I started saying, people, sometimes they don't even know because they are in the same situation as I am. So how do I take care of me? How do I do it? And now I make sure my daughter does it. She walks. She's changed her diet. The other day she was talking to me like she's stressed out. I said, okay, so when did you schedule your massage? She looked at me. I said, girl, you better get on Groupon. Find you a massage therapist out here in Georgia. Go ahead. She was like, oh, Mommy, I didn't think about it. Because I want her to know, like, you don't have to get to an age of you started to work, you're in your 30s before you start to enjoy a massage. You need to start doing that in your early 20s now and start building that as a practice.
As a muscle, like self-care. Sometimes I like to call it professional self-care. It's like, what do I need to do so I can actually show up and do my job, whatever it is, but not lose myself at the same time. There was something you spoke to. So in my new notes, it's written down as heightened visibility. So when I was listening to your story, this idea that you were ready to leave and then you wake up on Monday and you went viral. And there were a few times that you've been ready to leave. And when I think about, different conversations that I had with folks, and it's not necessarily, people wanting to be an entrepreneur. It's just people no longer wanting to be wherever they are. But in this world where you're posting about how you're the VP of sales, you're on LinkedIn talking about how you're the, global vice president or, global senior operator of business development for the blah, blah, blah. And you talked about, these phones that we're addicted to. How do you give yourself permission to leave if you yourself have created this like professional, not even professional, but this presence of heightened visibility without being associated with the failure? Because oftentimes I feel like at the root of one of the roots at the tree, we taking this visual now, one of the roots for folks being afraid to leave is this idea that, will people perceive me as a failure? How do you push people? What would you say to push someone past that outward perception, deciding what decisions folks are making for themselves as an individual?
So that is an excellent question. And how I was able to stand firm in my decision is I got a coach outside of Sable. So there are different coaches. Everybody doesn't serve the same purpose. So Sable's purpose in my life at that time was to support me around developing my branding and help me think through some things. I had to get a coach who was going to basically break me down, help me identify what my strengths are, because there was just things that I was doing that because I do it so well, I didn't recognize that it was a strength, right? Like I just be like, oh, I do X, Y, Z. She was like, okay, so no one else can do that. That's actually something that people pay for, right? And I'm like, and people will look at me and be like, oh, she knows everything. No, I don't. I'm very clear. I don't know a lot of stuff. I don't know a lot of things. And I'm okay with saying, I'll be the first one in the room to be like, so I'm not really clear. I need you to explain that, right? So I got a coach to help me again during the time that I was out on leave, to help me unpack. And I'll be honest, there were people who, when I said, you know what, I think that I have to start considering whether or not I can go back to work, because if I go back, I'm going to relapse, right? And there were people who literally said, who will you be if you're not a principal? What happened? Right? People verbalize that, or people who were let's say they were the ones who would actually get me opportunities, right? So if it's a publicist, if it's an agent, all of those things, they would ask me, how do we then pitch you if you're not a principal?
What's your story?
And I had to like give the whole side eye, the face and everything, because I will remember my coach. What were the skills that allowed you to become a principal? You built the school. You're a visionary. So what I'm going to say to each and every one of you, stop living by the title. Okay? And understand your talent. If you lean into that, I don't say I'm a principal or I was a principal. I'm an educator, because I could be whatever I want in the realm of education. So if I said I was an educator before I say I'm a principal, if I decide today I want to be a teacher, it's not a downgrade. It's my decision. I have the skills to be a principal. I choose not to be. You understand?
It's not a downgrade. It's my decision. That's your next t-shirt. Monique
She probably is. She probably is. And it's because we've been taught to live and glamorize and glorify the title.
Yes.
As if that's all that we've been birthed in this world to do. I wasn't born to be a principal. Hell, I didn't even want to be a principal. I didn't want to be a teacher, right? In my world, I was going to be a nurse. Here we are, right?
I just wanted to be rich, y'all. If I'm honest.
So ultimately, I have to identify who I am. When I say I'm a chief visionary officer, that people be like, what is that? It's because I have a vision for what I create. That's what I do. I'm a visionary. So if I decide to take a job tomorrow at an organization, I'm still going to bring all of my skills that was required of me to be in retail, that was required of me to be in the telecommunications industry, that was required of me to be in the healthcare industry, that was required for me to be in education. I can do whatever I want. You got to be happy with yourself and your decision. And the last thing is that people always got something to say. They're not taking care of you. And I don't mean to do all it, but I need you to know, right? Because it was like, and I need to make the connection, because like when I was in a failing marriage and things were not going well, and I remember trying to tell people like this, he's not well. Like I'm in a situation, right? And what people saw was like, oh, he seems so great. He's so like, they couldn't understand, right? Like, why would you leave? You're married. Like you have the house, the car, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. There's an abuse that happens mentally that then gets to physical that I'm not happy, right? And so when people are sitting there telling you about you should stay, you should this, and you should that, you should this, they're not willing to endure anything that you're going through. You got to do what's best for you. You got to make sure that you're safe and you're secure. They want you to stay in this job. You stay in a job. You take on that role. You do all the things that I had to do. The minute you leave, as long as you look good, let me tell you something. The day I left I said, this is it with the ex-husband. I'm done. I promised myself I will never look as bad as I feel. I will never look as bad as I feel. I'm going to throw on the shirt, the red lip, the whatever. And people are like, oh my God, like you're no longer, you look good. That's all they care is the visual. You know what I'm saying? You could be hurting inside. People just want to make you feel like your decisions are bad. No, take care of you. Choose yourself. Know what you're worth. Because the minute you do and you step into your own power, you start naming what it is and who you are. They got to rise to what you say. It's not the other way around. If I say I am the queen, when I come up in here, I'm the queen. Who are you to tell me I'm not?
What you gonna do about it?
Who's gonna do something? You can't tell me anything. You understand? And so, again, I don't want people jumping out and saying, tomorrow I'm gonna quit my job. I'm not saying that. I will say this, it's the art of preparation that allows you to leave in a more secure position.
And I think that's the crucial piece so many miss. The preparation that comes with, no, this is it. And you hear the stories of people who have left, again, whether or not it was to go the entrepreneurial route, whether or not it was to secure another, full-time position, part-time contract, whatever it might be, even if it was to take a sabbatical before deciding which one to go, there was some preparation. And then there were a few incidents of like, this is the last straw, before the last straw came that officially broke the camel's back. And they're like, no, okay, I know I was talking smack before, but this is it. To that person, what would you say preparation needs to look like?
There's a list. All right. So no, there's a list, because we fail to invest in ourselves. We really do. We will invest in the bag. We will invest in the shoes. We will invest in the fly car. None of that is going to actually bring you the position that you really want. You'll look good stepping out the car. You'll look fly being in an interview, but do you have the skills? Do you have the network, right? So a couple of things you need to do. No matter what industry you're in, there are associations that are affiliated with the work you do. You need to sign up for those things, right? So if you're in education, and let's say you're a math teacher, are you part of a math organization? Are you part of any type of organization, ASCD? Are you part of ISTE? Are you part of ILA, which is a International Language Association? Like, there's so many organizations that you can actually join that when they come together, it's great for networking. There are job opportunities. There's information that you learn about the industry you're in. The worst thing that we do as educators is that we feel like once we are in the classroom, we know everything, and that's where we stop, right? We only focus on our instruction of content. We don't focus on, there are other things happening beyond our classroom, beyond your community. There was a whole world outside of Brownsville, right? And when I went internationally and I started speaking and I was part of organizations, I was like, oh my God, like there's just so much. And it opened up the doors to so many things. So join organizations, join Facebook groups, not the ones that are just about showing off. The ones that people are having conversations and sharing information. There's one for educators around Canva. Like, how can you use Canva for brochures, newsletters, assessments, whatever it is. There are things that you can learn skills, right? I'm part of LinkedIn. I've met so many people through LinkedIn. People don't even have a LinkedIn page, or they have a LinkedIn page and they're not really active. You talk about you want a job, all of these employers are on LinkedIn with the job. So if you have a profile that's half done, no picture, no updated resume, nobody's going to find you. Yeah. And LinkedIn is not sending you any updated jobs if you don't have anything done on there, right? So you do that. I pay a little extra. I do LinkedIn Learn because there's online classes that I could learn about just about anything. I got a membership to Skillshare because there's things I want to learn. If I want to learn about YouTube, and if I want to learn about pictures, if I want to learn about how to create something, I could do that. The other thing is that there are events, right? So where a lot of things are virtual, but there are events that are being hosted by organizations as well that you can sign up for, and you can meet other people. Don't be afraid, especially since you're an introvert. This is a great time because virtually you don't really have to.
You don't have to touch nobody. You don't got to shake hands. It's beautiful.
Just don't. Take inventory of what your skills are. Don't minimize yourself. So again, we'll say I'm a teacher, or you'll say I'm an executive assistant. I'm just. What does that entail? There are a lot of responsibilities that you have. Own and respect how much work you put into your job. Do a laundry list of all the things you do. And then even again, go on LinkedIn, look at job postings, things that you may see that you may be interested in. You have a current resume. How does your resume reflect the possible position that you would want in the future so that it actually speaks to who you are? Because, sometimes we get so complacent, we haven't had to write a resume in years and X, Y, and Z. You don't have to. Now you can just take the stuff off the post and put in your own words and put it on your resume. Do that for yourself. Invest in coaching. Invest in coaching. Stop asking people to do everything for free. You could ask people advice, but you have to invest in coaching. When I tell you how much I paid between coaching and online classes, I probably pay off my car, right? But I say that because how much I now make in terms of consulting, how much I'm able to ask when I'm doing coaching, one-on-one coaching. It's based off of how much I invested in myself, and what I'm giving people is actually like, it's good. Like, you know what I mean? So I had to do that for myself because I'm a professional about what I do. Yes, I ran a school, but I was never a consultant. I didn't know how to schedule bills. I didn't know the type of language that you needed to have in place. There was a lot I didn't know. I didn't know how to create ebooks. I didn't know how to set up an online course. I had to actually pay so I could learn how to do these things. And so when you decide, if you say, I'm going to give myself a year, I'm going to give myself 18 months, I'm going to give myself 2 years, then you also need to start thinking about, what do I need to get done? Where do I want to go? What do I need to get done? So whatever skills you need to develop, whatever experience you need to have between now and then, whatever networks you need to develop, whatever questions you need to ask, you do it. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel like I don't want to ask because I don't want people to think that I don't know. I was asking all the questions. I didn't care if people were like, but you're Dr. Nadia Lopez. I am.
And
I need the answer to the question, though. That's what I need. And because I was willing to do that, people were like, okay, let me show you. Who can I go that I can actually sit? I want to pay somebody so that they could teach me. Because here's the other thing. When you're paying, people respect your time and they're going to give you what you paid for. When you don't pay, you're at someone's mercy for them to be available when they feel like it, and then what they want to give you. No, I want all the stuff I paid for. This is what we agreed on. This is what I'm paying for. And that's what you get. Mm-hmm. So I hope people wrote that stuff down, and if you're like, I never left a position outside of like right now as an entrepreneur, I never left a position without preparing to go to another position. So when I was a teacher, I remember leaving one position to go to another. I didn't tell anybody. My coworkers would complain all day. They would go to lunch together and complain. They went to happy hour together and complain. While they were complaining, I was in my room. I was writing my resume. I was making phone calls. I was setting up interviews.
So was I.
And when September came and I wasn't there, they were like calling me, what happened? I got another job.
I'm out.
When did you do that? When y'all were together at lunch and at happy hour, I was writing my resume and doing my interviews. Like, you got to take care of you, because people like to flock together and be miserable. I don't have time. There's a lot of energy going into us talking about nothing, and that's not changing our situation.
Not even a little bit.
Nothing.
I mean, clearly we could be here to midnight. Misery does love company. I see a couple of make moves in silence sometimes. So there's making moves in silence, and then there's recognizing where to put your energy.
Yes.
And I think sometimes it's important to like differentiate between the two. Like, there are times where people are asking and you're not necessarily sharing with them what you're working on. That's a protecting energy there. But then there's the scenario like Dr. Nadia was just saying, where folks are complaining, and I might have complained in September, the first month of the school year. You might have got me early October. But by the time Halloween hit, I was coming up. I call it planning my great escape. Like, oh, we're not going to be here forever. We're going to get out of here. So we need to plan accordingly. So come next September, I'm not going to be here. Of course, that's in school year. In school years and other places, you could think of it in terms of, well, next fiscal year, I'm not going to be here. Whether they do a January to December, a July to June, a September to whatever the years might be, it's like the next time they're planning the budget for the upcoming 12 months, I won't be in that planning process in any way, shape, or form. Y'all, I mean, every time I do these, I feel like I need to get like a custom RBG collection plate, and then I can just like pass it around the virtual room, so we can sow some seeds, because the folks just be dropping gems month after month, and you came in swinging just like Brooklyn do, and you just made us so proud, folks. You can stay in touch with Dr. Nadia Lopez at the Lopez Effect on Instagram. You can find her on LinkedIn. She has, your website is like bookmarked on my computer. What's the web address to your website?
TheLopezEffect.com.
Okay, yes, TheLopezEffect.com to stay in touch. Nadia mentioned all things networking and all that jazz. If you are a Black woman in need of a network, do me a favor, join this network. We'll be launching live soon. My goal, let me be very clear here, it is not to replace the industry-specific networks that exist. You need to be part of the Teachers Federation. You need to be part of NABA. You need to be part of NSBE and all of these things. This network I'm growing in particular as a multi-industry network, because the reality is we're no longer staying in the same cities. We're no longer staying in the same industries, and we need to be able to plug in, because you look up one day, you've been out of school 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and you realize you only know teachers, you only know doctors, you only know lawyers. And when it's time to cross over, you're like, sugar, honey, iced tea. Unless you're, still in relationship with friends you graduated from high school with, or not high school, college with, your network in other areas are sparse. So if you are in need of a network, by all means, please join the RBG National Network. We are growing. Yes, listen, I love this one. I love lots of people, for the record, but like, I got tears for my love. There's like God love, because the Bible said love thy neighbor, right? And then there's like family love, okay? So Dr. Nadia Lopez is on the family love. Like, she don't know, if I hopped on a plane, I would totally knock on her door like, I got food, let me in. All of those things. Get her book, join the network, stay in touch, and by all means, please, I would love to see you at the next Sis Talk Show. I'll be announcing it in all things, in all spaces very soon. Do you have a copy of your book that you can show us? Is that what you grabbed?
No, I was grabbing something else, but wait.
Can we see this blouse though? Sis is fly. Yes, you see those sleeves? I'm over here in a regular old t-shirt.
It's all good. It's all good. Hit my butt.
I got a little print on my t-shirt, but y'all can't see it with this camera angle.
I don't get to be on screen that much, so I gotta be cute.
I was on
so this is my book,
today.
The Bridge to Brilliance. So that's the book. I also have an ebook. It's somewhere around here. I don't want to keep moving around.
But on the website, she got it all up.
Yeah, I wanted to say to everyone who jumped on and people were sending stuff, information. Thank you for taking the time to use your Monday, because Mondays are exhaustive.
They are.
And so I want to thank you for being present. I want to thank you for recognizing that there was something you needed to hear that hopefully resonated, that you're able to take back so you can feed your soul. I want you to know that you are already chosen. You are exceptional. You don't really need me to tell you that. But if you didn't hear it today, if you haven't heard it in a month, I want you to know how exceptional you are, right? Your circumstances do not have to define your future. What it is, it gives you a testimony. I have a long testimony, and I am grateful for the moments that I broke down, for the moments that I was on my knees and asking God, please just reveal to me why. He said, because I have something far more greater for you. So everything that I went through, everything from childhood, everything from a failed marriage, everything from the transition of a workplace, is because when I needed to speak into the life of someone who's here or someone beyond or a child, it wasn't coming from a place of I don't know. It's because I've been there. And if you can see me as someone who has the ability to still be here, to still be alive, to still deposit and tell you that you are more than enough. You might not have the platform that I have. I didn't have this platform 6 years ago. Do you understand that? Nobody knew who I was. People around the way knew who I was. People who came to my school, like Sable, knew who I was. But outside of that, people didn't know who I was. And I didn't do anything to be known. I did it for the glory of God who gave me my purpose and for the liberation of children. So when you stand firm in what you have been brought into this world to do, and when I say when you know whose you are, and you start to tap into who you are, you will start to think about the legacy you want to live. So everything else, anyone else who does not speak into you, who does not make you feel your best, if it doesn't allow you to glow or grow, it's time to let it go. And that just needs to be your mantra. You need to understand that. So why I got up, because I know I gave a word, hallelujah. Okay. Why I got up is because on the site, I'm going to share it with Sable, and I'm going to put it up, maybe not today, probably tomorrow. In order for me to get to where I am and how far I've gotten is because I had to become accountable of my time. That's the one thing that we don't honor and cherish, right? And so when we don't take note of how much time we're giving to everyone else, we continue to give to everyone else, and we don't give to our own vision or the things we want to manifest. Okay. And so with my rec roommates or people that I've coached or folks who went through the Lopez Institute for Teacher, the LIT group, I literally showed them the process. So I had designed a book that you can have access to, but literally, you see, I want y'all to just see this, right? This is how I had to keep my time accountable when I became sick, because what I recognized is that all of my time was being spent on my school. All of my time was being spent on my family. All of my time was being spent on everything else that had nothing to do with my own personal self-care. It had nothing to do with me learning a new skill or being able to read a book. Like until I got sick, I hadn't read a book for pleasure. You understand? Until I got sick, I hadn't gone to yoga for the sake of breathing well and being good to myself. So I am very intentional. So if you see here, right, all these greens are indicative of when I take time for myself.
I love color coding.
When it's the blues, this turquoise, it's because I know that I've learned something on that day. If it's the dark blue, it's because I spent time with my family. If it was the purple, it was because that had to deal with work, right? All of this happened when I was at doing all the stuff to see where I was going. And then what ended up happening is March came and COVID came.
Look at all that purple, y'all.
You see how the purple came back? Let me show y'all before.
Look at all that green.
You see the green? You see how pretty it was? And then COVID came.
Purple.
Right? And then COVID came.
Purple. Right?
And then all of a sudden I start skipping days because I'm too tired. I can't even, I'm just, you see?
And what I love here is that she's highlighting that no one can keep you accountable but yourself. And I think that's a crucial piece and distinction that as a society of adults even, that we haven't necessarily made. Oftentimes we associate a consequence with accountability, and consequences and accountability are not the same thing. Mm-hmm. I cannot make anyone accountable. You cannot make me accountable. We can only be accountable to ourselves. Mm-hmm. So in the midst of like permission to leave, it's like, be honest. What do you actually want to do? Meditate on it, pray on it, think on it. And then once you decide this is that thing for me, but like I said, it could be another job. It could be entrepreneurship. It could be a blend. I got a whole 9 to 5, y'all. And I don't hide it. It's on my LinkedIn. It's on my resume, all the things. Are you going to be committed to that thing, that goal, or are you merely interested? And I say that, I think in almost every masterclass, because a lot of us will share our interests, but interest is not enough to sustain you and to keep you accountable to your goals. If there's anything I know about this woman right here on the screen, often to a fault, when she says she gonna do it, she gonna do it because she's committed. Oftentimes we're like, Nadia, close the computer. Nadia, leave. Nadia, did you eat? Nadia, drink your water. Obviously, this has been like a complete 180 transformation as you've heard, her story, but just be honest with yourself. Whatever that thing is that you've been wanting to do for a really long time, how much have you given to that thing?
Mm-hmm. And you may not be able to have, no one can be accountable for your actions, but there is that one person or a couple of people who you can lean on
and partner with.
So for me, I'm always going to say it. It's Monica Chu. She's been my ride or die in my work, right? She understands me. We're Aquariuses. We don't have to speak the same language. People just be like, what y'all talking about? We just vibe, right? It's our thing. That's the person who, when I was falling apart, when I couldn't pick myself off the ground, when I was at Mott Hall, when I left Mott Hall, that she had my back, right? And we oftentimes don't have that one special person who has our back, right? Because the other thing about being a woman is that sometimes we've been burnt so bad by other women that we don't know how to trust, right? And so when you have that person who understands you, that you don't have to worry about anything, you speak their name, you give them acknowledgement, you let them know how special they are in your lives, right? And so I want you to remember and hold on to that. And that's why this group, when Sable created it, it was to create a safe space, right? This organization was so that there are people who you can trust. There are individuals that you can come together, right? And you can share your ideas. You can grow with each other. You have to have that, because one thing my pastor would always tell us is that you don't grow in isolation, you grow in relationships, but you got to be trusting of the relationships and the people you allow in your space.
And you got to give as much as you want to take.
And by doing that, you allow growth to truly happen. So, again, it's Monday. I don't want to hold y'all. I hope I'm actually gonna go roller skating. I committed to every Monday. I go to roller skating.
Roller skate. I go roller skating.
I go roller skating. It's hip hop and R&B. I mean,
I really fall trying to dance on the skates.
So I commit myself. That's part of my self-care on Mondays, and I'm going. And it's till 11. So I could get this only 5 minutes from my house. But I want you to think about something that you're gonna do for yourself this week, no matter what it is, and commit to it, and tell everybody, put them on notice, I'm not available.
Block it in your calendar.
I'm not available for my mother. I'm not available for my daughter. They all know, I'm not here for you until 11. So nobody has come down the stairs. My daughter hasn't called me on the phone to say, Mommy, she knows today is Monday. So at 11 o'clock, when I'm back, everybody could talk to me. I'm here, I'm happy. Because that's my thing.
That's your time. I love it. Oh, first of all, when you were, I'm gonna let y'all go. You know how Black people say we're gonna let you go and be on the phone 31 hours? I promise you, this is not that tonight. But when you were describing your relationship with Mo, the CeCe Winans and Whitney Houston "Count on Me" song came in my head, and I was like, if I was a whole DJ, I would have had that queued up behind the scenes, but I'm not, so I did not. But it definitely, and if I could sing, I really would have tried to like whistle it in the background. But okay, y'all, as you can see, Dr. Nadia and I can be here all night talking to each other, but she gave you homework in true educator fashion. She said, join a network, okay? Work on your talents, work on your skills, create that plan, prepare. She has classes that can help you with that. I can have classes that can help you with that. I'd rather you go to hers and come to me for the network piece, if I'm honest. Like, if we got to prioritize what we do here, go to Nadia for those classes, join RBG for the network and the other networks that exist out there, and then carve some time out this week for you. Block your calendar and make sure that you are unavailable to everyone else so you can prioritize me time, because self-care is important. Professional self-care, as I like to call it, is important. And damn it, no one has time for burnout, because they will run you ragged if you let them. Boundaries are blessings. It's been a wonderful, wonderful night. Oh, yeah. Buy her book, for the record. And follow her on all the places, Instagram, LinkedIn. You know where to find Real Brown Girls. Nadia, you have a dope time roller skating. Now I want to look up a rink and make sure they have roller blades, because I truly cannot roller skate.
And just be on the lookout for those who are still on here. I will be teaching probably in November. So just hold on to that, save the date in November, a vision class.
Yes,
so the
and her, that's what I said. Go to that vision class, okay?
The vision class will help you like get your whole life together. And it's a 2-part class. It's very intense. So it's a small amount, and it's only for people who are really about wanting to manifest what they want. You got to be committed. When I say I'm a chief visionary officer, it's because literally I vision and I do it. And it's those who have taken the class will tell you it changes your life. But we only put 10 to 12 spots. That's it, because it's a very intimate, intense,
in-depth.
So we can't have a lot of people, because it's a cleansing. It's that, but it's also cleansing, because you got to deal with yourself in a way that you've never done it before. But because you can want to do a vision, you can want all the things, but until you take care of some of the things that have been holding you back that you didn't even realize. So we can't have everybody in the room. We got you.
So what she's saying is follow her, all the places, email her so you can be the first to hear, because it is intimate. I'm saying go on and join the network, please, because we got lots of things in store, and hopefully we'll see you next month for the talk show. I'm not going to tell you who yet. Just know all of who I brought has been wonderful, has been dope. Nadia gotta go. She gotta roller skate. I'm gonna pretend to eat dinner. And then everyone else, I want you to hydrate, and I want you to brush your teeth and wash your face before you go to bed, and try and get a good night's sleep. Woosah, meditate, roll your shoulders back, say your prayers. Nadia said you were excellent. I say you are loved. Go, y'all, and go be great. Good night, everyone.